All right, Brian, when you look at rivalries around the state of Kentucky, there's Louisville St. X, Louisville Trinity, but I got to believe the Covenant Catholic Highlands rivalry has to be among the best. I mean, you knew that as a player. You played in this game. Now you coach in that game. Great tradition, state championships, 31 state titles combined. But what is it that makes this game so special?
I think that both teams have a lot of respect for each other. You know, it is a rivalry, but both teams – they get up for this game and they respect each other, and they're going to play hard for the game because we know what they're going to bring. They know what we're going to bring. We're going to, both of us are probably going to play our best game of the season. I'd be shocked if we don't. And so when you put all that together, the fact that it's a district game, the fact that the state championship goes through this game year after year, there's just a lot on the line.
It's kind of interesting you bring that up because I know this program from 2007 to 2014, then they've won 2 of the last 3. It's kind of like when you guys would meet in the postseason. You play in a regular season, but no matter what the class was, by the time you met in the regular season, it seemed like the winner kind of had a leg up on the state championship. I guess that just speaks volumes about these programs and about this game.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I just said is, when you play these guys that there's not going to be a better team in the state. And so we got to measure ourselves against them. And, I feel like they got to measure themselves against us too. We've played well the last couple of years. We just haven't been able to find that way to get over that little hump and score more points than them, is what it comes down to. So, we're excited to get a chance to go play in a game like this.
Talk about your season. I mean, you start off and you lose to Simon Kenton, then you beat Ryle, then you play a really good Boyle County team. Seems like, though, the last 2 weeks, dominant shutout, you really got it going on both sides of the football. What's changed, if anything, or are your guys just playing maybe better, kind of rounding into midseason form now?
Practice. I mean, everybody's in the same situation to a degree. Teams that had a quarterback returning had a huge leg up, and CovCath's got a 3-year starter coming back, so that's a huge advantage for them coming into the season. Even when we could find, we didn't start practicing until July 13th, and I know they started earlier and other teams did, but we didn't start till July 13th, so everything we did from March 13th, I believe, until July 13th was virtual. It was trusting these guys to go out on their own and do the workouts in their basement and have meetings and watch film together, but there's nothing like being out here and practice. And so, we basically had to replace everybody. We only had, 3 guys on defense really coming back and really 1 guy on offense coming back. And so when you had to replace every position, and especially the quarterback position, it took a long time to get going.
For people who don't understand football, maybe when they hear that, they look at lengthy preseason practice and they kind of go, do they really need all this time? And what are the specifics leading to that? You mentioned about getting guys together, but what do you think's taken the longest to kind of round into that form?
Football, and like you just said, I don't think people that are out there understand what goes into just running one play. Just to run one basic running play or one basic passing play, you got to have a pass protection in place with the offensive line. You got to have receivers. I mean, the whole thing's got to take place. You got to have a snap count. I mean, just to run one basic play takes, it's a couple days of practice. Then you got to have. You can't go with one basic play. Defensively, same thing. Then you got to have your special situations. It's 3rd and long. It's 1st and 10. It's on the goal line, punt team. I mean, there's just so much that goes into every game, and we just didn't have the time to really get with everything. So it has taken a while, and we're not making excuses. Every team's in the same situation, and who gets there the fastest is going to win.
Quarterbacks are like coaches, right? They get too much credit maybe sometime for wins, too much blame for losses. But you mentioned Caleb Jacob, 3-year starter for CovCath. But, boy, your guy, sophomore Charlie Nunes, really started to kind of show a complete game. Talk about what those while it's not only the quarterback, but those 2 guys are important on Friday night. What do they each mean, and what does your guy have to do to really make plays for the Bluebirds?
With Charlie, it's a learning curve for both of us. For the coaches and for him, and the receivers and him, and the running backs and everybody. You go back and watch film of our first couple practices this summer versus our game film last week, and it's like it's not quite the same because what we thought we were going to do or what we thought we had might not necessarily be where we are right now. So it's been a constant change, and he's been phenomenal with communicating with us on what he's comfortable with, what he's not comfortable with. The receivers have been awesome in terms of showing up every day and working hard. And in the summer we'd be out here and they'd go out on their own and practice a lot. So it's all starting to come together. We're all starting to get comfortable with each other and what we can do.
Talk about coaches have different theories going into a game like this. Some will take well, it's just another game. It's our first district game. But a lot of coaches won't ignore the fact that it's a big rival like CovCath. What's your approach with your kids on a week like this?
Yeah, you got to be real. It is a big game. It is Covenant Catholic, and you can, if you try to ignore it, you're fooling yourself, because you may not be talking about it right here, and they may, being good soldiers and just sitting there, but as soon as they leave here, that's what they're talking about. So we're definitely going to talk about it. I know they're talking about it in school. I know it's a buzz around here right now. It is Highlands CovCath. You mentioned St. X and Trinity. You mentioned whoever else. I mean, you got to accept the fact, but you got to embrace it, enjoy it. That's why you play high school sports, is for nights like this. And so we talk about all the time. We want your experience to be the greatest experience possible. Highlands CovCath. I mean, you play in that game, you remember that game.
Final question about that game is for this team, and I got to believe that Connor game was big for you guys, especially that first half where you were clearly dominant. Connor came in undefeated. You were coming off the loss to Boyle County. Boy, you were very impressive in that half. You carried that over to last week. To continue that on Friday night, what does your team have to do to win this game?
Energy of practice, and that's what, we had a good week against Boyle County in practice, and we came out the next week and we had a great week. We just showed up. Guys were excited to be here. They worked hard. They were flying around. Today was another, excitable practice, a lot of energy of practice. And, you can't just walk through practice during the week and expect to show up on Friday nights and flip a switch. So, we've got to have another great practice tomorrow and a great practice Thursday. And then, we'll show up Friday and play as hard as we can.
All right, you got the right mask for the Skyline
Oh,
Chili Crosstown Showdown, right? Yeah. So let me ask you. So obviously a Skyline fan, I presume, correct?
Absolutely. Who's not?
All right, I'm with you. But when you go there, do you have a go-to? Is there something you get every time?
The normal. 3-way, cheese coney with everything, and a Diet Mountain Dew.
I'm not going to lie, that's kind of mine too. So it's all good, man.